Yeah. 20 seconds, that was. 1 second.
You tell me when it's starts. It's quiet.
The longest 20 seconds.
The longest 20 seconds.
5 seconds.
All right. We'll just get it in there. I thought maybe y'all would want to look at me.
Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Good morning. It's wonderful to have you all here. I sense so much energy this morning. It's wonderful. Thanks for being here. On behalf of the co-pastors and our board of trustees, we welcome you to Colby Memorial Temple for our Sunday service. And my name is Reverend Deborah Gretton-Ganberg. To begin our service, Shannon Corkins will light 3 lights symbolizing the unity of body, mind, and spirit. Thank you, Shannon. Please rise now for our opening prayer and remain standing for our first hymn. Infinite intelligence, great spirit, we give thanks for this beautiful day. And we give thanks for all the beautiful souls who came to attend this Sunday service here in Cassadaga this morning. May each person here be uplifted in some way this morning by this service and take that inspiration forth into their day. For all these blessings and so much more, we say thank you, Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
And our first hymn is number 120, Brighten the Corner.
We got toys. Do not wait until something favors you. Do not wait to the many you where you are. Where you are, just above our God, it's time that you may help you. And not that you're where you are, all for talent you may surely find. Where you are. There you are. Thank you. You may be seated.
Great job. I saw some of you tapping along with us. Thank you. Located on the handout in the front cover of your hymnal are our Declaration of Principles. Please join with me in reciting these principles together. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continues after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule. Whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of the individual and that he makes his own happiness or unhappiness as he obeys or disobeys nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul, here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in the Bible are divine attributes proven through mediumship. The healing prayer is located in the back of your hymnal. Please recite with me the prayer for spiritual healing. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and the power of God. Now, for those of you who would like to receive spiritual healing, please take a seat along the wall and go to the next available healer. And the chairs along the wall are on both sides there. While the healers work, the rest of us will join in a guided meditation. And so now just allow yourself to become very comfortable in your chairs. And close your eyes and start that journey within. Becoming aware of your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Just noticing the steady, quiet rhythm of your breathing. And letting go of any thoughts that may arise, so that more and more you can just feel safe and comfortable and relaxed. Now visualize yourself taking a walk in the country to a place of beauty and tranquility. It's a warm summer's day. The sky is so blue, just an occasional fluffy little cloud floating high above. And the sun is shining brightly. and the birds are singing happily. It's just so peaceful here, away from the busyness of life. You notice your surroundings. The colors are so bright and clear. And there's a stream running nearby. And you can hear the water as it gently flows. The gentle breeze is blowing through the air, and it rustles the leaves on the trees. There's flowers all around, and you can see the butterflies dancing around. You see a large oak tree nearby. So you walk over and sit underneath it for a while. Just feeling in total harmony with your beautiful surroundings. This is a place where you can feel safe and secure and free from all the hustle and bustle of life. So you take a few more deep breaths. The air is so pure, so clean. And you can feel your skin tingling as your body is being cleansed with every breath that you take. As you look up into the sky, you see what looks like a star, but no ordinary star. For this star not only shines during the day, it shines with all the colors of the rainbow. And as you continue to gaze upon this beautiful star, you realize it is gently drifting down like a feather towards you. Gently drifting down, and soon it is hovering above your head. And you find yourself, your whole being, encompassed within this rainbow of colors. And it feels so peaceful. Just allow the colors to soak into you. Feeling them cleansing and purifying every cell of your being. And soon the rainbow is replaced by a radiant golden glow, and you are filled with feelings of love and compassion. Feel your heart opening wide. And within the glow all around you, you see standing right before you a beautiful angel or guide. And you know in your heart that this presence is here to help you in some way. And you begin to realize you are able to solve problems that have been bothering you for some time. And that no problem is so large you can handle it. Knowing that you have the loving support of this beautiful being standing in front of you. For this divine presence knows everything there is to know about you. Loves you unconditionally, in spite of your human struggles. And so your heart begins to be filled with hope and a feeling of promise. His presence has always been and always will be there, standing beside you, to guide you and to help you in any way possible. And it feels so good to know that you're never, ever alone. So take a few moments now to be with your angel or your guide. Take this time to thank them for all the blessings you've received in your life and for all the blessings you will continue to receive. Now, just before your divine helper departs, they place a gift before you, a gift that is meaningful to you in some special way. So just allow yourself to feel that gift or see that gift given to you now, knowing that it is just for you. And as you express your thanks to this divine helper, it merges back into the rainbow of colors, and then into the star as it floats effortlessly up from where it came. But you can still feel that halo of the powerful, loving energy light surrounding you. And you now know wherever you are and whatever you're doing, your divine presence is watching over you, protecting you, helping you, guiding you, and loving you, bringing so much hope into your life. And you notice that everything seems so much lighter and brighter now. And you are filled with such a beautiful sense of peace. And you know you can come back to this special place at any time to visit with your divine helper. And so breathing rhythmically and easily, you can once again feel yourself coming back into this space. Feeling yourself in your body, your feet on the floor, and the energy of Mother Earth coming up into your feet. You feel yourself drawing that energy of Mother Earth up into your feet and legs and up through your whole body to ground you. So gently letting yourself come back into this room at Kobe Temple, fully present, knowing in a deep place that you are better for this. And so you are. Welcome back. If you have received a healing resulting in a correction or an improvement today, please complete the yellow card in the back of the temple. There's also one in your hymnal. And give it to the pastor at the back of the temple or mail the card in to us. And you can also place the card in our collection plate as well. We'd like to thank our healers for sharing their gift of healing. And I'm going to name the healers from left to right: Jackie Arnold, Reverend Dr. Sheldon Ganberg, Marty Hadaway, Joy Sauger, and Daryl Demerit. Thank you, healers, for sharing your gift today. We really appreciate it. Please stand for our next hymn now, number 45, I Feel Like Traveling On.
Yes, something. Yes, something. Thank you. You may be seated.
Well, now I am honored to introduce our speaker for this morning. Reverend Jerry Moore is a certified medium, teacher, and longtime member of Cassadaga. He is also the president of our Board of Trustees, which is an all-encompassing position to have in the camp. Very, very busy position. So we are very grateful for all the energy and hard work that Jerry pours into the camp. So now, please join me in a warm welcome for Reverend Jerry Moore.
Good morning, good morning. Excellent, you've been practicing. So we're right in the middle of summer. In another 10 days, we're gonna have the 4th of July holiday that's coming up. I usually head over to Lake Helen. Some of you know about that. It's a couple of miles down the street from us here. And they have a parade in the morning, and then they have festivities in the afternoon, and then they have a fireworks show at night. But of course, that is preceded by the amateur fireworks show, and followed by the amateur fireworks show after that. So, you know, 4th of July is a pretty big deal over in Lake Helen, let me tell you. So, of course, the reason that we celebrate the 4th of July is to honor the memory and the sacrifice and the foresight and wisdom that our founders of this country had when they created the Declaration of Independence as well as the Constitution. As colonists, the people back then created communities from very meager beginnings. Over time, they began to see themselves as being equal to their brethren in Great Britain. And when the king and parliament passed laws that were more restrictive and increased taxes, the colonists decided that enough was enough. And on July 4th of 1776, they signed the Declaration of Independence and made it public. Later on, the Continental Congress met with the assigned purpose of coming up with changes to the then Articles of Confederation, which was our first constitution. And it had all kinds of problems that were recognized and they needed to make fixes. And so that was their assigned purpose. But they didn't do that. Instead, they proposed a brand new framework of government that encompassed in the document we call the Constitution. When people saw this, they were shocked. How dare they do such a thing? Approval of the 13 states was not a sure thing. It took a lot of discussion and a lot of persuasion. Several of the states only approved the Constitution on the condition that additional changes would be included later on. And those were added in what we now call the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights. And of course, we added 15 more amendments since then, including those that abolished slavery and added women's suffrage. So you can see the Declaration of Independence was just a start. We recognized that we wanted to separate from England, but just how we would do that and how we would govern ourselves was not an obvious or straight path. I don't think anyone would say that we're finished. We're still working on it. We're trying to improve. It's no wonder that this whole process has been called the Great American Experiment. The founders had looked at many forms of government that had been used in the past and discussed very deeply the pros and cons of each. Eventually, they created the Constitution with its three branches of government to balance each other out. The product they created, the Constitution, was and is unique in all the world. Nothing quite like it had existed before. The founders were taking a huge risk to try and innovate and create a new, improved form of self-government. So these founders, in a very real sense, were explorers and experimenters of new ways of doing things. And so too were the founders of spiritualism some 70 years later. In 1848, the Fox sisters heard the rappings of a deceased peddler in Hydesville, New York, and that became the initializing event of modern spiritualism. From that single event, the spiritualist movement grew and spread rapidly across the country. Spiritualism began as a demonstration of communication across the dimensions with the so-called dead. In the early days, it was not unusual for mediums to give demonstrations, which included physical phenomena. This might include such things as objects moving around the room on their own, apports suddenly appearing, drawings or writings left behind by visiting spirits. There was a great deal of public interest, and no one knew quite where this exploration would take us. But since those early days, spiritualism has grown and matured and expanded, and we see spiritualism as a religion, a science, and a philosophy. Those demonstrations of spirit communication I spoke of were the scientific basis of spiritualist movement. When we recognize the overall creative and divine energy present in all things, that became the basis for our religious beliefs. When we recognized that we had the ability to apply what we had learned from spirit communication to our everyday life, spiritualism became a philosophy. All this is reflected in the declarations of principles that we read aloud just a moment ago. This was a new approach compared to other belief systems, other religions. Spiritualism does not see a conflict between religion, science, and philosophy. Instead, spiritualism itself is the union of those three things. In its own way, spiritualism became another grand experiment of exploration, somewhat like the great American experiment of our Constitution. And spiritualism, in many ways, was a declaration of independence from older ways of thinking about religion. The Declaration of Principles is a central document of our understanding upon which spiritualism stands. We do not consider it a creed or a statement of dogma, but rather a summary of what we believe is true as of this time. There was no central authority of administration for spiritualists, and for many years after the movement began, mainly because spiritualists believed that was inappropriate. One of the central concepts held was that spiritualism provides a way for the individual to discover truths from spirit teachers directly themselves. There was no need for a human administrative structure like a central church or national organization to dictate what was approved as a truth and what was not. In fact, it was believed that would actually interfere with the ability to adopt new truths that individuals became aware of based on their own exploration. But eventually, a central organization was formed in the US in 1893, and it was named the National Spiritualist Association. It was later to become the National Association of Churches, Spiritualist Association of Churches, excuse me. The original 6 items of the Declaration of Principles that we spoke of were approved by this organization in 1899. And like the American Constitution, the Declaration of Principles has been updated and changed over time. So far, 6 times, most recently in 2004. And we may not be done yet. As refinements of what we understand become known and agreed on, more changes may be made. As mentioned a moment ago, spiritualism treats each person, each individual, everyone in this room as an explorer. Each of us is, in effect, experimenting with our own lives. We are trying to apply our life experience to come to a greater understanding of truths and spiritual understanding. We are each expanding, and we are creating in our lives. From a practical standpoint, never has a generation of people had access to so many resources and so much information or such mobility as we enjoy today. But so many times we are held back by our own fears and concerns. And these fears can rise up like a giant wall before us, causing us to withhold, to hesitate to act, and to avoid risk. But are we going to just let ourselves just react to our surroundings based on our fears? Wouldn't it be better to proactively address events in our life? Unless we have the ability to put our experiences into perspective, the stream of events can be overwhelming. So here's an idea. Maybe a little change in thinking would help. Maybe we can have our own Declaration of Independence. We can declare ourselves independent of our fears, so they no longer dictate what our actions should be. That would be a good thing, wouldn't it? As discussed earlier, independence for the American colonists meant needing to develop a new governmental structure to replace the British one. To declare independence from our fears means becoming more self-aware and knowing of ourselves well enough that we can make those better decisions we desire. This is not a new idea. Philosophers and writers have long told us of the need and desirability of being self-aware. The ancient Greeks said, "Know thyself." Shakespeare wrote, "To thine own self be true." The idea is that you truly only know yourself and your own motivations. You own your own self-worth, excuse me. You will have an informed platform to make decisions. So the first step for us as individuals is to know what our own position is. This is not validation for doing nothing. It is just a starting point for self-reflection, of self-awareness. Benjamin Franklin was quoted as saying, "There are three things that are extremely hard: steel, a diamond, and to know oneself." George Bernard Shaw once remarked, "Life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself." And that is going to take exploration and experimentation. To create in life is to play, to interact, to find joy and participation without fear. So, what is your motivation and intent? Some of you may have heard the story of Dominique Moschino. She was one of the members of the American women's gymnastics team at the 1996 Atlanta Olympic Games. That team had the nickname of the Magnificent Seven. In the years leading up to the Olympics, Dominique had earned her first national team position at the ripe old age of 10. She was the all-around silver medalist at the 92 Junior Pan American Games and the 1994 Junior National Champion. In 1995, at the age of 13, she became the youngest gymnast to win the senior all-around title at the U.S. National Championships. Going into the Olympic Games, she was very popular because of her very bubbly attitude. She appeared on the cover of Vanity Fair, and she had even published her own autobiography. In 1996, the year of the Olympics, she was 14 years old, and she was the youngest member of the American women's team at the time and ever since. In those games, Dominique was hindered by a fracture of her tibia, but she was still able to compete very strongly with a bandaged leg. And she gave a really inspired performance on the floor exercise. After winning a team gold medal, she went on as a professional gymnast and earned many more awards over the next several years. But in 1998, when she was 17, she took a step that caught many off guard. She sued for emancipation from her parents in order to regain money she had earned as a professional gymnast. She reported during the court case and in television interviews that her father had squandered her earnings amounting to well over $1 million. She also spoke of his abusing, controlling nature. In fact, she had a restraining order against her own father. Apparently, she had lived in this abusive environment her whole life. In the end, the court did approve her emancipation request and gave her control of her finances. And eventually, she reconciled with both of her parents over the matter. In the mind of the public, this woman, Dominique Moscheneau, had a seemingly fairy tale life of athletic success and fame. It was the kind of life that many of us would consider ideal. But what the public did not know is that she had grown up in an abusive, repressive environment. One can only imagine the turmoil she must have endured and how great the emotional pain must have been. But she did not just endure this situation. She evaluated where she was. She determined she would not allow some things. And she took the next step to apply what she believed. She became an independent thinker. She felt she had to legally declare her independence from her parents to get the world to formally recognize her rights as a separate human being. What an amazing and inspirational spirit. I would like to tell you another story about another woman. Her name is Jennifer Bicker, and she was born in Romania. As a child, she loved gymnastics, and especially tumbling. Her father would bounce her on the trampoline, and she became very good at it. At an early age, she decided she wanted to compete in gymnastics. There was nothing too special about that until you realize that she was born with no legs. On the day of her birth, she was given up for adoption. She was eventually taken in by an American couple and raised in Illinois. Her name was now Jennifer Bicker, and her parents would not allow her to use the phrase, "I can't." They encouraged her to pursue her athletic goals the same as any other whole body person would. She grew up without ever thinking of herself as being handicapped. In school, she competed in volleyball and basketball, as well as gymnastics. But her true love was power tumbling. In fact, her childhood idol was Olympian Dominique Moscheneau, who we just spoke of. Jennifer became tumbling champion for the state of Illinois and placed fourth in the AAU Junior Olympics competition. By the way, there is no category for handicapped athletes in these competitions. She earned these titles competing with full-bodied competitors. Jennifer Bicker had always known that she was adopted, but at age 16, she asked her parents if they had any information about her biological parents. They brought out a fat envelope full of papers, which they showed her. And although the adoption was supposed to be closed with the names of the biological parents hidden, one of the documents still showed the last name. It was Moscheneau. At that moment, Jennifer Bicker knew that her childhood idol, Dominique Moscheneau, the Olympic gymnast, was her sister. Jennifer held this realization to herself for 4 years. Then she decided to take action. She gathered pictures and supporting documents. She wrote a very personal and descriptive letter to Dominique. She was very concerned that Dominique might think she was some crazy person who just wanted attention. She knew she only had one chance to try and convince her that they were actually sisters. Dominique received the package Jennifer had sent her. She read through all of the material, and then she asked her parents about it, and they confirmed the truth. When Dominique was 6 years old, Jennifer was born, and her biological father decided on the spot they could not raise a child with no legs. Dominique and Jennifer have now been reunited, and Jennifer has reconciled with her biological mother. Her biological father had died before she could meet with him. Today, Jennifer is married and performs as an acrobat, an aerialist, and a speaker. It's an amazing twist that Jennifer, who was born with no legs and given up for adoption, ended up living with parents who gave her the support and encouragement to deal positively with her situation. If you listen to the interviews with her today, she presents herself as a very thoughtful and expressive person. She knows herself very well. She is proud of her accomplishments. Her attitude is that, yes, it was unfortunate that she was born without legs, but that was just her particular life experience to deal with, and she did. Her attitude is unshakably positive. The irony, and she points this out herself, The irony is that stayed, if she had stayed with her biological parents, she likely would have been just as miserable as Dominique was. She would not have had the nurturing and supportive home environment she actually ended up experiencing. She was not born with the physical attributes that most of us take for granted, but she certainly had the backing and support of her adoptive parents to deal with it. To listen to her interviews, you know she feels she has had a blessed and wonderful life because of that. She clearly sees herself as very, very fortunate. Both of these women, Dominique and Jennifer, had extremely joyous moments and great accomplishments in their lives. And both their lives had challenging aspects where they had to apply a realistic self-evaluation with open eyes and frank self-honesty. They both knew themselves very well. They both recognized their own motivations and intent. They both established themselves solidly in their own minds so they could be effective and focused on what they would do next with their lives. Like both of these strong-willed women, each of us has an opportunity to know ourselves, to be self-responsible, and to be self-aware. And when we do so, we declare our own Independence Day. When we do that, we have a starting point to face the outer world, to trust in our own strength, to face what we have to face, to create that which we wish to create, to interact the way we wish to interact, and to do so deliberately and with hope for the future. Will we get it right every time? Of course not. The world is one big test tube. We're all trying our own experiments and explorations at the same time. It is a big, chaotic, one-room schoolhouse. It is noisy and raucous and even concerning at times, but it is the environment that we share. And to be most effective in this world and to eke out most joy from it, we each need to know ourselves first. Each of us lives our days and our own experiences, our own priorities, and our own outlook on life. Despite the fears that we have, we learn to function. We learn to thrive in a chaotic world. Ultimately, when you lay your head down to go to bed at night, the question becomes, do you want to count sheep or do you want to count wolves? Do you want to count the things you're grateful for or do you want to count the things you are fearful of? We make these types of decisions every day. We make judgments about others and ourselves, but maybe we could give ourselves a little more credit, a little more grace, a little more respect, a little more internal encouragement. Because after all, we are that man or woman in the arena. We are making choices. We are the one who is deciding our next move. We are deciding how to live our life. And in so doing, we are showing our independence every day. We might not get it right every time, but it is our decision to make, our choice. And that is part of the glory and the joy and the great hope for living a full and fulfilling life on the planet. So when you watch all those fireworks going off in the sky in the upcoming holiday, why not think of it not just as a national celebration, but also a personal celebration of independence? Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Really inspirational. During our musical interlude, we will be passing the basket and we thank you in advance for your generosity. Our musical interlude will be presented by Jamie.
I remember
all of the things that I thought I wanted to be. So desperate to find a way out of my world and finally breathe. Right before my eyes, I saw my heart, it came to life. This ain't easy, it's not meant to be. Every story has its scars, but when the pain cuts you deep, and when the night keeps you from sleeping, just look and you will see that I will be your remedy. And when the world seems so blue, and your heart makes you feel like a fool, just look and you will see that I will be the remedy. No river is too wide or too deep for me to swim to you. Come whatever, I'll be the shelter that won't let the rain come through. Your love, it is my truth, and I will always love you. Love you. Oh. When the pain cuts you deep, and when the night keeps you from sleeping, just look and you will see that I'll be the remedy. And when the world seems so blue, and your heart makes you feel like a fool, just look and you will see I'll be your remedy. Spirit, thank you for always being there, always. When the pain cuts you deep, and the night keeps you from sleeping, just look and you will see that I will be. When the world seems so full, and your heart makes you feel like a fool, just look and you will see that I will be. I will be your remedy. Oh. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Let us take an attitude of prayer now. We give thanks for these gifts before us, so generously given. And we see this loving energy going forth to support Cassadaga in doing its loving, healing work in the world, which is so needed. Thank you, Spirit. Amen. We have some announcements this morning, as we always do. Next Wednesday, June 28th, at our message service, our message bearer is Robin Matatino, and that starts at 7 p.m. on Wednesday evenings here. Next Sunday, July 2nd, our guest speaker at our 10:30 service is Joy Sager. Every Sunday, we have Adult Lyceum, also known as Adult Sunday School. from 9:30 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. in the Andrew Jackson Davis Building. And you're all welcome to join us there, 9:30 on Sunday mornings. Next Sunday, July 2nd, our Lyceum speaker is Reverend J.U.B. Cooper. A few more announcements for today. This afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. is our new member orientation session, number 1, in our Bergner building, which is 1090 Stevens Street on the corner across from the bookstore and across from the post office, right on the corner. And this session focuses on an overview of the history of the camp and the religion of spiritualism, and provides a broad description of the procedure for becoming a new member. And this is session 1 of 3. So anyone who is interested in that, please join us in the Bergner building at 1 p.m. Also this afternoon, from 2 to 4 p.m., Reverend Diane Davis is doing a workshop on psychometry, the power of touch. And that's in the Andrew Jackson Davis building, which is our bookstore building. And that's from 2 to 4 p.m. this afternoon. Also, every Thursday at 11 a.m. in the Andrew Jackson Davis building, we have our healing meditation circle from 11 a.m. until noon. Everyone is welcome to join us as we send healing energy to those on our healing lists and the earth. To participate in absentee healing, please print the name and first initial of the last name of a loved one, friend, or even a pet in our healing book at the left corner of Kobe Temples, right in the corner over there. And it's those very healing lists that we send the healing energy to on Thursday at 11 a.m. Flyers for camp events are at the back of the temple and in your hymnals. You actually have the new ones for July. These are the June ones, but the new ones for July are in there as well. Those are yellow this time, and the trifold is blue again. So you'll find those right in your hymnals. And you can take those home, give to a friend. We have more at the back there if you'd like some more. Our website, casadega.org, also has the monthly information as well as upcoming events. It has everything in there. So just hop on to casadega.org and you can find what you need there as well. Please stand now for our next hymn, number 9, I Love to Tell the Story.
Thank you. You may be seated.
And now for the message portion of our service, please help me welcome back Reverend Jerry Moon.
I'm back. So I'd like to come to the gentleman with the plaid blue shirt on. Yes, yeah. Hear the sound of your voice. Just a hello is good. Thank you. So as I touch in with you, I see a gentleman is presented to me, and he's showing me some playing cards here, and he's basically saying, I always thought of myself as a king, but I'm really more of a jack. And he had kind of this odd sense of humor in that way, and I feel like he is someone that you had been aware of, that your awareness of him was this humor part of it, and that's why he's presenting himself this particular way. It's just really unique. He was always kind of saying things in a different kind of a way than everybody else, and that was kind of his trademark, I guess you would say, his personality. I feel like he may have been a chef. He liked to do cooking and to bake things, especially. I feel like maybe pies were his specialty, so he's showing me that. He's showing me a staff here, and I want to say that he's suggesting that you need to, or you might want to consider, I can put it that way, getting a little more out in front of the parade. You have a lot of capability and a lot of people will listen to what you have to say. And so he's encouraging you to not be concerned about being at the front of the line. I used to have a friend who used to say, if you're going to be in the parade, you might as well be out front. And so he's kind of nudging a little bit that maybe you've been kind of on the sidelines for a while, but now it's becoming available for you to kind of take a more leading position if you choose to do that. And he sees that as being a good and positive thing. So I'll leave that with love and blessings. Thank you. Now come to the lady with her hands folded and the sweater, light sweater. Yeah, that would be you. Hi. So as I touch in with you, I'm seeing this kind of things are presented to me in symbols, and what I'm seeing is this symbol of you in a rowboat, and it's kind of like going over a waterfall, and the next waterfall, and the next waterfall, and the next waterfall, just over and over. But you are not phased. It's this. Symbolically, I read that as having some disappointments, and it just seems like they just keep coming, and but it's not phasing you. It's not affecting your determination to keep moving and to keep advancing. And I feel like these disappointments are something that is very personal to you, not necessarily that would involve anybody else. It's happening, in your life, and it's something that you have just steeled yourself to have to deal with, and it's been effective. You've kept your balance. You've kept your ability to maintain, as the kids say, and to keep your focus on what matters as far as moving forward and not letting that slow you down. I'm getting this huge bouquet of flowers showing to me, Spirit. It's that this is just it's like a growth recognition that this took a lot of effort on your part to maintain that kind of determined focus. And I feel like these flowers are symbolic of that personal, for lack of a better term, achievement. Got a woman here who I believe is on the mother side. I believe it's mother or grandmother that you would have only known. She presents herself in the kitchen, big surprise, but she had one of those old cloth, those old cotton type of dresses, and it was with a little tiny floral print, dark blue, with little flowers on it, and she was one of those people who, even if she was busy, she had time for you. She'd talk, what's going on with you, and she would talk with you. And I mean, even if she was busy doing other things in the kitchen, she would not ignore you. She would have a discussion with you while she was working. And so she's bringing this in because that's how she believes that you will recognize who she is. And so she's giving just this soft, sweet smile, saying of confidence, I guess is what I want to say. That it's like this eye contact. You know what to do. You already know. And so she has no words. She's just smiling and observing and giving her greetings to you. So I leave that with blessings. Who hasn't had a message yet? Small joke. All right, I'll come to you. Yeah, is that all right? May I come to you? I'm getting, as I touch in, another waving a flag. It's like what do you call this, banner? It's like it has like a school banner on it. One of those types of flags, like what do they call them? The majorette, not majorettes, the people who do the flags. Pardon? Okay, flag girls. Okay, that works. So I feel like if you're not doing it, you're around people who have that kind of attitude of, being showy, okay, with how they do things and kind of calling attention, and being kind of like the active part of the party kind of group, the ones that, if you want to call a party, you call these people, because they're going to, make sure everybody has a good time. And that's all well and good. I'm also seeing a stack of books, and these are older books. I'm seeing the little frayed edges on them, and it's like doing a lot of searching and trying to looking for something in particular, looking for I don't know, just searching for something. You've got a goal in looking through these books. It's not just, reading them. It's like I checked all this out and I'm trying to understand something in particular. So it's very directed. I feel like a result of that is you are going to end up doing some writing in order to convey what you have learned, to convey what you have eked out of this research that you're doing. And I feel like it's going to take a lot of long hours, late night kind of stuff, but you're determined to get it on paper and get it finished. I hear the band playing when it's all done, which is like, celebration. It's like finally it's over with. I feel like that's Spirit saying, yes, this is a good thing. She's on the right track. So I'll leave that with love and blessings for you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jerry. We would like to remind everyone that we will have our afternoon message service right here in Colby Temple from 12 to approximately 12:30. A group of mediums and student mediums will be giving spirit readings to as many individuals as they can reach during that approximate 30 minutes. Everyone is welcome. We encourage you to visit our bookstore, which is open from 11:30 to 5 p.m. today, and Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Please rise now for our closing hymn, number 203, and remain standing for the closing prayer. Please take an attitude of prayer. And I'd like to pray a Celtic blessing. That's one of my favorites. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and may the rain fall soft upon your field. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Thank you so much for being with us this morning and having all your energy. It was just wonderful. Thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of your day. Love that song you sang, Jamie. Hey, you. All right, I'll give you what to say that, John. Jamie, I love that song. Hi. And Gio, I love that meditation.